Hi there, and these comments are for 7676. I'm using the last four digits of your student ID number, and I am Michael Buckoff, your English language program instructor here at California State University, San Bernardino. And I just read your essay here, so right now we're looking at 3.25 out of 5, 21 points out of 30 on this particular practice test. And let's take a look at it, one paragraph by paragraph here. And maybe, let's do this too. Let's bring up, I'm going to bring up the reading passage and the listening passage also, so we can take a look at that. See that? And let me make this a little bit bigger so we can do the editing and you can kind of see what I'm doing. Can you see that? Okay, so paragraph 1, you say the reading passage points, you want to say points out the maybe disadvantages. You can probably say of social networks. And then we got to be careful of those comma splices, right? I'm going to write this down, try to keep track of some of your errors here, and I'll tell you what you can do to learn in those areas. In this case, you have to put a semicolon, not a comma, to separate these independent clauses. However, in the reading passage, the speaker discusses maybe if you said this, so you might say, however, in the reading passage, the speaker disagrees with each of these points. Okay, then we get to our next paragraph. And let me create the windows here so we can see them together. Let's put this over here. Okay, we got it. Okay, so the main thing here is you want to start off with what the assertion is, I think, of the reading passage, then compare that assertion with what the speaker says. Now, believe it or not, in this paragraph, the idea here is social networks have taken the place of face-to-face interaction. So you want to say social networks take away the much needed socializing. Now if you say that, so according to the reading passage, social networks take away the much needed socializing. Moreover, facial expressions, intonation, and sentence rhythm are part of what we see or hear when talking with people face to face. You see this? This is too similar. When you're rewriting somebody else's ideas, you have to not say exactly the sentences that they're saying there. When we're talking with people face to face, how about we're talking with people in person, you could say, and that means the same thing. You might use some kind of connector here, thereby building friendships used in discussions. However, the speaker casts doubt on this theory, saying that people can build. You want to say build here, not building. So when you're using, I think, can, you need to have a verb there. So can build relationships. You might want to say, by using social networks, and let's go back to what the speaker's actually saying here. So basically, traditional places of where people meet have changed because of the internet. So it's saying that, the way that we socialize now is different from what we did in the past. You might say these new methods socializing we might put such as Facebook, and I'm going to put it here and then get rid of it here. So these new methods of socializing, such as Facebook and Twitter, are the new modern traditional ways of communicating with each other. You might say, according to the speaker, these new ways of communicating are akin with pen pals. I think that's good enough there. All right, let's take a look at your next paragraph. So you say, second, the reading passage points out. We used that one already, right? So let's see if we can use a different vocabulary word here. Reading passage. To further criticize social networks. The reading passage asserts that many users have hundreds of fans and friends on Facebook. And here, this is another comma splice, so we got to work on this one. Go to Google, here are your keywords. What is a comma splice? So what is it exactly, and how do you repair that kind of error? You might want to say because You might say the concept of friends has been diminished social networks have created a negative what it means to be friends. Instead of it's, I'm going to say here social networks. Nevertheless, the speaker claims that social networks are good ways of making friends. I wouldn't put a comma there because you might want to say because people can become friends does not mean, this is where you're running into trouble. I'm going to say here, without having to meet in person. I think that's better grammar than what you wrote there. And let's put a transition word in here. In addition, the speaker uses, subject verb agreement here, the speaker uses personal example of pen pals. Or maybe I got mixed up on the other. Let me look at this other idea. Okay, wait a minute. Friends by sending letters through the mail. That. Second, to further criticize social networks, the reading passage asserts that many users have hundreds of fans and friends on Facebook. Because the concept of friends has been diminished, social networks have created a negative meaning of what it means to be friends. Nevertheless, the speaker claims that social networks are good ways of making friends because people can become friends without having to meet in person. In addition, the speaker uses a personal experience of pen pals to show. Why does he do that? Let's look at this. So the pen pal thing, it's saying that it's similar to social networks. So you probably want to make that clarification. You might say, albeit okay, I think we're good enough here. What do we have? So second, to further criticize social networks, the reading passage asserts that many users have hundreds of fans and friends on Facebook. Because the concept of friends has been diminished, social networks have created a negative meaning on what it means to be friends. Nevertheless, the speaker claims that social networks are good ways of making friends because people can become friends without having to meet in person. In addition, the speaker uses a personal experience of pen pals to show how social networks are similar ways to communicate with others, albeit in a modern society. Okay, we got it. All right, so you say, lastly, in the reading passage, throw a voice marker in there. You want to say, are causing users to become addicted and obsessed with updating and posting which is taking up a lot of the user's daily activities. Now, did we get it all? This paragraph's not developed very much, and probably, what else can we do here? Similar to video games, social networks are causing how about too time-consuming? Not the speaker, I want to say the author, right? And this idea, we're going to put one more. I just wanted to develop this idea just a little bit more, so I think we're better. So, in the reading passage, social networks, according to the author, are causing users to become addicted and obsessed with updating and posting information, which is taking up a lot of the user's daily activities. Similar to video games, argues the author, social networks are too time-consuming and create a more repressed society. How about here? On the other hand, the speaker argues how about against these assertions? What if you said this, by, and then you can use a gerund here. How about that? So you're using a preposition plus a gerund phrase. The speaker argues against these assertions by pointing out that social networks are the new normal. I'm going to say routines are the new normal routines for people communicating with each other, and it's a new access to create new friendships. And we have one other idea we pointed out here. What's it say here? It says those who do not participate in social networks can be viewed as repressed because they refuse to assimilate into the current technological societal advancements. I think that will work there. So we developed this paragraph a little bit more, right? What do we have so far? Last, in the reading passage, social networks, according to the author, are causing users to become addicted and obsessed with updating and posting information, which is taking up a lot of the user's daily activities. Similar to video games, argues the author, social networks are too time-consuming, create a more repressed society. On the other hand, the speaker argues against these assertions by pointing out that social networks are the new normal routines for people communicating with each other, and it's a new access to create new friendships. In the final analysis, the speaker argues that the ones who are repressed are society's members who do not want to participate in the new modern form of communicating. To sum up, the speaker, step by step, you need a verb here, opposes those ideas which from, you can't say which without a verb there, but what if you said this? To sum up, the speaker step by step opposes those ideas mentioned in the reading passage. That is fine. Okay, so one of the things that I've done here is I used a lot more of this one idea, social networks. You'll notice I put that in several times in each of those paragraphs. That is the key idea. That's what the reading and listening passage are talking about. So that type of repetition, I think it helps keep the purpose of your summary very clear. So instead of using pronouns, I made some of those changes. All right, let's take a look at your essay one more time. And basically, I'm going to put you at 325, 21 points out of 30. This one, the edited version here, this will score 5.5 out of 5. Or 30 points out of 30. Okay, here we go. The editing passage points out the disadvantages of social networks. However, in the reading passage, the speaker disagrees with each of these points. First, according to the reading passage, social networks take away the much-needed socializing. Moreover, facial expressions, intonation, and sentence rhythm are part of what we see or hear when talking with people in person, thereby building relationships used in discussions, asserts the author. However, the speaker casts doubt on this theory, saying that people can build relationships by using social networks. These new methods of socializing, such as Facebook and Twitter, are the modern, traditional ways of communicating with each other. According to the speaker, these new ways of communicating are akin to when the speaker used to communicate with friends by sending letters through the mail. Second, to further criticize social networks, the reading passage asserts that many users have hundreds of fans and friends on Facebook. Because the concept of friends has been diminished, social networks have created a negative meaning on what it means to be friends. Nevertheless, the speaker claims that social networks are good ways of making friends because people can become friends without having to meet in person. In addition, the speaker uses a personal experience of pen pals to show how social networks are similar ways to communicate with others, albeit in a modern society. Last, in the reading passage, social networks, according to the author, are causing users to become addicted and obsessed with updating and posting information, which is taking up a lot of the user's daily activities. Similar to video games, argues the author, social networks are too time-consuming and create a more repressed society. On the other hand, the speaker argues against these assertions by pointing out that social networks are new normal routines for people communicating with each other, and it's a new access to create new friendships. In the final analysis, the speaker argues that the ones who are repressor society's members who do not want to participate in the new modern form of communicating. Or you could probably just say communication. To sum up, the speaker step-by-step opposes those ideas mentioned in the reading passage, and there it is. Okay, so my main advice here is, overall, you have a pretty good understanding, I think, of putting the information from the reading with the information in the listening. I gave you some ideas on how you can maybe develop the topic a little bit more. I showed you how you can improve some of your connections between different sentences in the different paragraphs, and I also gave you some information about comma splices. That's really, your grammar is not really terrible, but you need to understand a little bit more about what comma splices are and how to avoid that type of sentence structure error. But overall, I gave you 325 out of 5, or 21 points out of 30. Now for our class, if we go to the syllabus here, let's figure out what does that mean exactly, right? So let's take a look. I think it's in page 9 if you want to go there now. So according to the rubric here, writing, it's down below here. 3.25 is going to put you at 79% on this assignment. All right?